Hello everybody, welcome back to Road to Master. I hope you're all having an amazing day. We're starting off with the white pieces against an 1848 from an unknown country. I'm assuming that's like Russia. I played d4 just to change things up. Let's e6 as well. Very interesting. We could go into a Queen's Gambit here. Could go into a French. Would be interesting. But not the two knights French. So let's just go for a Queen's Gambit, which is declined. Catalan-like system. I forget how you play that. We'll start off with knight f3. I don't think you bring the bishop out. I think you just play e3. And then you can maybe go for like a Catalan, I think. This is solid, very, very solid from what I know. The triangle system. We'll play knight c3 is probably similar, and it keeps flip flopping openings. So we had the Horwitz, then the Queen's Gambit declined, then the triangle, and now it's semi-Slav main line. Okay, Bishop d2 just on pins again. A lot of these d4 openings are very, very simple, I think, in terms of their moves, because basically everything's a move. Not to sort of hate on d4 openings, because obviously they're I think objectively the best openings, to be honest. Like, if you want to play good chess, they are objectively the best. They just are very interchangeable, and you can't really go wrong, to be honest. As long as you're not making any massive blunders, you can't really go wrong with 1d4. That's my opinion anyway. I think we can take this at some point. When we want to take that, I'm not sure. Let's take it now, see what happens. See if my theory holds true. And we have this structure here. So we know this, if you watched my pawn structure video. Very quick sort of look at it. It's called the Carlsbad structure. And it's basically infamous for being boring. Nothing much happens. Very piece heavy. There are breaks each player could do. Black's sort of looking for more of a kingside attack because they have these two diagonals. But white does have very promising chances on the queen side as well. So I think here a b4 is in order, and we go for a b5 break. I think is perfectly acceptable. Put a lot of pressure on this c file. And yeah, we just live life. I think we just play chess at that point. We could go all the way. We can take. We don't have to. We could go a4, a5. No. No. Because the queen and bishop are on the same diagonal. We need to figure out what we're doing with our pieces. I think a g3 is in order, potentially. Just as a bit of a defensive measure. Alternatively, a bishop d3 wouldn't go amiss. Even looking for an e4, which is risky, I think. Yeah, we could take. I kind of want them to take. Because they could get some b-file. And if we take with the knight, we still have a lot of pressure there. Let's go. I don't know. I think bishop e2 is the way to go. We've got to stay on our side, I think, a bit. There are lots of attacking chances for black on the king side with these really powerful bishops. We just have to be aware of them, basically. It's nothing too crazy. We could go like, I think queen c2 might be okay. Looking to potentially double up and then even take this is an option if this knight ever moves. Castles is a risky one, I think. It's not a move I particularly want to decide on straight away. I think here a4 is just fine. Right, and look for a5. If they push there, I think I'm more than happy to take at that point and leave this a pawn in a good view of my bishop. I'd be happy with that. We can get the rook on the b file. And then we have like dual control. I think same thing. We could think about this actually. No, in fact, a5 I don't think would work well. The knight goes back, and then you're left with a question on how to defend the a pawn. So I think we just take, and then just put all our pressure on there, because they're going to have to do pawn takes because of the bishop. I would like a knight there if possible. Is actually very possible now that I think about it. Is actually very, very possible. We might have to do a few sort of maneuvering moves, but I think it's a very real possibility. Knight a4 seems to work relatively well, but bishop takes, and then like a knight there. Queen takes, knight there. Queen goes back. And then maybe castles is interesting. You go down a pawn. I think that's actually very, very interesting. Bishop takes. Knight takes. Let's go knight d1. Knight d1's a different move. I think very interesting though. You're actually looking to potentially get to d3 and go around this way, and this knight can potentially even go around this way as well. So I think that's very interesting. I think here a bishop b4 is in order. Just further control of this c5 square. Then we can start to maneuver these knights to where we really, really want them. It's going to take a lot of moves, and we have to be careful. I think bishop b7 helps us with that, because it's moving a piece from their attack, and it's also blocking the b file as well. So I think that works in our favor. That's a bit of an annoying move. A bit of an annoying move because it's covering both of these squares that we want to get our knight to. In fact, no, we can move this. We can start to move this knight. Yeah, we've just come from there, so we actually can start to maneuver this and sit there. Sure, I think they could potentially think about pushing. I'm not sure where these knights are really going, to be honest. I really am not sure. Probably... Oh, we've got to really get two knights in there. So maybe a castles would be nice. Especially because they've moved away this c8 bishop, I think I said before. Rook c1, I would like if I can ever secure this a-pawn a bit more. Even a knight c5 here works, actually. I like. Because knight takes, bishop take, not bishop takes, queen takes. Oh, you go there. I think now, yeah, knight c5 just works, right? Threatening the bishop. And also potentially taking this knight and then this knight with check, although they take our bishop with check, so castles would need to take place in order for that to really happen. We've got to speed up. 3 minutes 40 seconds left on the clock. They go for the trades. Very interesting decision from them. That's a very strong knight. I guess they can instantly replace it. But yeah, an interesting trade, I think. Yeah, I think we get rid of their dark square bishop, to be honest. I really do. We get rid of the bishop pair, but this is an incredibly bad bishop. I think this is an incredibly bad bishop for them. So they're going to have a hard time with that. We've got to cover the push somehow. No, knight e5 falls to c5. So we go like there. Even king takes is an option, I think. That was a whistle there when I was speaking. I'm not sure what happened there, to be honest. But I would like this knight back on b3 and just sit it back on c5. Get a rook on c1, probably this h rook. And then trade off queens with a rook right here. I think works really, really well. I think works pretty well. We've really got to speed up, though. Really got to speed up. Because, yeah, 3 minutes is tight. They go there, which I think is a mistake, to be honest. Yeah, I think it's probably a mistake. It's interesting, though, because f4 is a very real break. Like I said at the start, their plan is f4, but I don't think they have the pieces anymore to back it up. That's an annoying check. Fortunately, it doesn't do much for them. Knight back. Alternatively, king e1 if we really need to. King f1 also if we really, really desperately need to. Yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. King f1 is the way to go there. Kick this queen out somehow. However we do it, maybe just like an f3, king f2 is an option, and then get rook b1. Seems reasonable. Queen there, queen takes, knight takes. We just go like bishop f3, potentially. They go there, so they're looking for the push, which is interesting. I think here f3 works. f3 works, right? Just kick the knight out. There's no reason not to. Where's the knight going? Wherever it goes, it's sort of covered by the bishop, which is quite nice. Get this king up to f2. Sort of away from the checks. f4 is a bit of a threat. Also, this pawn. Weak, but our king's currently locked into this knight, so we can't do much about that. Yeah, can't do much about that just yet. I think knight c5 is the obvious move here. They go for the trade. I've got to take it. And then just knight c5. Threaten the bishop. Threaten this pawn as well. So they probably have to just take. I can take, actually, with the intermezzo of knight d6 with the fork. Is a very nice tactic. So they're in a bit of trouble here, I think. Pawn is hanging. They go for that. But they have rook takes. So we're going to have to go... Yeah, we're going to have to go king takes, unfortunately. The bishop can't go anywhere, really, anyway. So they're going to have to back it up with the rook. f4, we can think about doing like a rook lift. Yeah, let's bring the rook up to a3. I think is a good idea. Covering this, and it's also supported by b3 as well, which is quite nice. Bishop goes back, which is fine. We can do rook c1. King goes back to f1 after check is fine. Yeah. Maybe a2 was better than a3. But it's fine. You know, we're threatening the c pawn. We're threatening the a pawn at the well. Which is nice. Yeah, we just go back to... f1's the only way to cover the g pawn. They can't double up. What? We just take, right? That's surely just a blunder. Surely just a blunder. Which is why a3 was better, actually, than a2. Potentially. I don't know. That's a computer thing to tell me. We can now go... Yeah, we can go rook b3 with the threat of rook b8 winning the bishop, rather than focusing on this pawn. They go there, which is probably smart. Rook b3 still fine. Rook d2, probably rook d3. It's not a move I want to make, but it's a move I can make. Yeah, they go there instead. Now I go there, threaten the bishop. I can take and then take with check and then win that. And this pawn's borderline unstoppable now, which I'm very happy with, to be honest. Very, very happy with. The king can't go anywhere. We potentially even have a ladder mate, which would be very nice because this pawn's doing the Lord's work. Absolutely doing the Lord's work there. We're going to have to potentially go this way. They go there, which is falling victim to the ladder mate, I fear. We'll start taking. Threat of A8 immediately. Yeah, we can just go here. Take this with the threat of mate as well, which is nice. We probably could have gone f6, which is tidier, but same thing. Same thing. I'm not too fussed. The threat is still there, so we can just gobble up the rest of the pawns, or just trade off at this point. They go there, which is fair enough, I guess. Sure. Just speed up a tad. Start pre-moving. Get all that done. A lot of pre-moves there. A lot of pre-moves there. And we can think about pre-moving a mate, but I don't want to do that just yet. They resign. Fair enough. Amazing. I think that was a good game. I do like d4 as an opening. It's not natural to me. I don't think the tactics come a lot more naturally, but it is a potential avenue to look into of playing d4 more often. There is a lot. It's very theory heavy though, because it's such nice positions. There's so much theory to just get like the slightest advantage, which is a bit sort of intimidating, because you might think e4 has a lot of theory because there's so many replies to it. But a lot of the replies, like, you can go deep into them, but they're really quite simple, to be honest. But d4, because the moves are so interchangeable and the position is almost the same a lot of the time, you know, you need to really, really grind for that slightest advantage, which is what sort of worries me, I think, a bit. So you'll see a lot of book moves here. I don't know it. That it's all good moves, like I keep saying. The pawn push idea is okay. It wants more development first. Again, all okay moves. Takes A is the correct thing, although it wants H3 then, rather than A5. I thought potentially we were winning a pawn at some point, but I don't think we ever actually ended up winning that. And this plan doesn't work. Apparently the way is to go to A4, which is crazy to me. I just didn't think that worked. I thought bishop takes was fine. It's going to shout at me. Yeah, it seems fine. Oh, queen takes. Oh, with the threat of the rook. Takes, knight takes. Oh, so you get the pawn back that way. I didn't even clock that, to be honest. We did some maneuvers here. It really wanted us to castle. Apparently we can take this. Is a mistake. This is 1.9 here, and it goes down to 0.7. So the reason is because a trade, and you're just getting rid of one of their stronger pieces, I guess, which ended up happening anyway. So I'm happy again. Oh, we lost it. Not F5. There we go. Ended up happening anyway, so that's fine. Yeah, this is scary. I think they had a bit of play here with F4, F5, F4, sorry. Although the computer says it's a mistake. It just wants us to castle. Yeah, we were just sort of silly. It was a bit slack giving them this check. It's not a bad check. And yeah, knight d2 I thought was the safer option. it wasn't for me, though. I don't think. It's very anti-developmental. You know, they could potentially get the open file quite clearly here. But I guess then you can castle. You can play f3 to kick the knight out so your king's not tied down to the defense of the d2 knight. This is a blunder. This is a blunder, apparently. Oh, gosh, yeah. They have a fork here. They have a fork here. Silly, silly stuff. Silly, very silly, to be honest. Yeah, queen takes is great. With just a fork, you're up a piece for free. You're just up a piece. Luckily, they didn't see it. That's what happens when you play too fast, I guess. And then I'm super happy with this endgame. I mean, this is a terrible, terrible bishop. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess you have an escape route there, but it's actual, like, playable squares are practically nothing. These are permanently dead, basically. These are permanently dead. This one's flexible, but it's a dodgy push. So yeah, rook a3. Yeah, rook b1's better. It just is. You keep control of the file better. Rook a3 is still fine though, I think. And then they just blunder a rook. So there was so much more play left in this with f4, which I do see. Probably a rook b3. Although rook b3 we saw didn't really work out too well. Rook e1's the way to go. Oh, pinning. Yeah. With the, like, pin ideas, you're both defending as well. Some trades. And you're in a still nice position for white. But you can't say it's clearly winning, to be honest. Yeah, we just double rook here. A few trades later. Blah, blah, blah. We get the ladder set up here. Oh, you can go to b7. Because it's still mating this way round. If you go this way round, it's still mating because the rook's controlling this escape square as well. So you can actually ladder this way with the defense of this pawn as well. That's quite clever. But we went the slow way. We won some pieces in the meantime. And this, like, if you're low on time and you're pre-moving, this is really important idea. If you're ever pre-moving. I would call this, there's not an official name for it, but I would call this a self-sufficient structure, potentially, where everything defends each other. Now, this can be two knights, or it can be like a queen and a bishop, or a bishop and a pawn. But the rook's defending the pawn's defending the other pawn, and the other pawn's defending the rook. So it's like a triangle, basically. And it means the king can never, ever, especially with this king here blocking this square, it can never actually make it to past the f file. So I can pre-move all of these. Forget about that. That's a lot of time I've just saved. And then blah, 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 ladder mate. You know, it's pretty simple. You got to be careful of stalemates, but it's unlikely in this position because of how far away the king is. Anyway, it's a really enjoyable game. We were due a win. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. d4, gonna play more often, I think. Also, I'm thinking of doing some non-video grinding to try get my rating up a bit. Get back to like the 1900 area would potentially be an idea. So I hope you don't mind if that happens, if you see my rating shoot up a bit. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Please like if you liked. Please subscribe if you really liked. And I'll catch you guys all tomorrow. Bye-bye.